In Project 4, we're going to take a look at applying a digital signature in a document, as well as inserting signature lines, and then finally we'll look at inspecting the document for various features that have been used within the document. You'll notice at the bottom of page 307 that they talk about restricting editing again, and that's one way you can kind of protect your document. That restrict editing task pane, we've already seen that when we went under the review tab, protect option, and then restrict editing. You can also get to that by going to the file tab, and then in the info category, protect document, there's a restrict editing option here as well. And so that's the same feature that we've seen previously. They're just bringing that to your attention that you can get to it two different places. When you add a digital signature to a document, you're basically authenticating it and also indicating that you agree with its contents. So when you add a digital signature to, in addition to those two things that are happening, it'll lock it so that it can't be edited or changed unless you remove that digital signature. So essentially it's read-only, and it's basically an electronic stamp that really vouches for the document's authenticity. Now before you can use a digital signature, you have to get one. You have to obtain one either by purchasing that from a commercial certification company, or you can create your own digital signature. And then that digital signature supposedly is saved on your hard drive or the network. So we're going to attempt to add a digital signature to this lease document that we have. And I'm going to go ahead and save that as they suggest again. Alright, and then to add digital signature, we're going to go to the File tab again, still in this Info category, Protecting Document, and then notice the very last option, and it tells you what these are. Ensure the integrity of the document by adding an invisible digital signature. So we want to add the signature. Here it's saying that the digital signature combine the familiarity of a paper signing experience with the convenience of a digital format. You have to either purchase it from a third-party commercial digital signature company, or you can create one on your own. We're going to click OK to this. You are about to add a digital signature to this document. This signature will not be visible within the content of this document. So the purpose of this, now I've already in previous semesters created a digital signature. So you're going to get, if you go through this on your own, you're going to get a slightly different dialog box at this point. Click on change just a minute. I was just seeing if we could pull up that same dialog box that you see on page 308, but I'm not getting that. So, but if you look on page 308 in Project 4A, in that figure there on the right, it says get a digital signature. You'll want to click on create your own digital ID, and then once you click OK, as it's showing there in the figure, then you'll go ahead and type in your first and last name. You'll provide an email address. You'll provide your organization name, or in this case they're providing a school name, and then also the location. So you'll provide that information first, and then once you click create, then you get to the point where I'm at this point. So here we're going to go ahead and type in agreeing to the terms of a lease, and then we'll click sign. And it's telling you your signature has been successfully saved with this document. If the document is changed, your signature will become invalid. So click OK to that. And then we're going to go back to the document for just a second, and you'll see a lot of these features within the ribbons are all dimmed. They're not available to us because this is basically in a protection mode. It's read-only. And what we can also see here on the status bar at the bottom, there's another icon that represents this digital signature. It says this document contains digital signatures. And if we click on this, that brings up the signatures task pane on the right hand side, shows who has a digital signature applied to the document. And if you want to see the details of it, you can click on the drop down arrow, choose signature details, and that gives you what the purpose was, who signed it. And if you click on view, that gives you additional information about the individual who's signed this particular document. Okay? All right, so that's essentially adding a digital signature to a document. They have us removing it. So if we go back again to this drop down arrow, there's an option here to remove signature, and we're going to say yes to that. Signature has been removed and the document has been saved. So now we're back to, if you go back to all the ribbons, you should be able to see this, the options have become bold again and you have access to those. Okay, and you can close out this signature task pane on the right by clicking on the X. In addition to digital signatures, we can also add signature lines. So if you had a lease, in this case, that you're sending electronically to an individual who's going to be leasing for you, you can add digital signature lines to the bottom of the agreement so that the user will have to sign it. So it's a great tool, and we're going to learn how to insert those signature lines. So we're going to go to the bottom of the document, the very, very bottom, and to insert a signature line, you go to the Insert tab. And then in the text group, should see signature line. I don't know if you're going to have that same button there. You may have an entire button that says signature line. But I'm going to click on the drop down arrow to the right of that. And actually, we'll just go ahead and click the button. That takes you into that same sort of dialog box that we saw previously with the digital signature. Go ahead and click OK to that. And then this shows the information that's going to be included on the first line. Now this first signature line, we're going to have information about ourselves. So we're assuming that we're the manager of this particular property, and we'll sign it, and then we're going to create another signature line that will be for the person who's leasing it. So the suggested signer, we're going to call ourselves the assistant manager. My name first. And then our title, which is right here, would be assistant manager. Email address, I'll just put in my Ivy Tech email. And then you can have instructions too that can be added for that signer. Since we're the ones who originate it, we don't really need instructions to ourselves. But so we'll leave that as is. Go ahead and click OK out of that. There's a little signature line with the X, and if you click on that, there's a box in there, and we can add our actual signature to that in just a second. Now below that, we want to also insert another signature line that will pertain to the lessee, or the person who's leasing from you. So again, to pull in the signature line, Insert tab, Text group, and then I'm going to click on the signature line button. Click OK. The signer on this one is they want Jaden Coel. Their title is lessee. The email address, we'll leave that as is. And we won't put any instructions, although you could put instructions in there to tell them how to sign or whatever. So we'll click OK. Again, you get the information of who's signing and who that particular person's title is. Now, to put a title, or to actually sign this, if I double click inside of it, I'm going to click OK to that, it'll give me a dialog box where I can actually type in my name. And again, if you wanted to do it in cursive or italicize it, or if you had your own, actually I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can apply italics and different types of formats there. So we'll just type in our name, click on sign. Signature has been successfully saved. The document's changed. Your signature will become invalid. Okay, so it's kind of, again, in a protect mode. You can see it's marked as final. And then that could be saved and sent to then the lessee. Okay. All right. Then the next portion, the last portion of Project 4, is taking a look at the feature that inspects your document. And you can inspect your document for several different things. It's just a way to kind of look at personal and possibly hidden data within your document. You can also check for compatibility and accessibility issues within your document. And all this, you'd want to run this inspect a document before you send it out, shared it with coworker, your boss, or whatever. In Project 4C, we're going to make some changes to the document first of all, and then we're going to add some hidden text to the document. And then once we make some of these changes to the document, then we'll inspect the document. So the first thing that we're going to do though is we're going to remove the signature from the document. So where it says an author has marked this document as final to discourage editing, we're going to edit anyway. And it says editing will remove the signatures. Do you want to continue? Yes. And I'll click OK. And then notice now we're freed from the read only or marked as final issue. So, okay, now we're going to turn on track changes because we're going to make some changes here. To the title, we're going to increase the font size to 14. And then also in this second item here, in the rent category, we're going to delete the word first day, or just first, and replace that with 15th. And then we're going to go to the bottom where it says in witness thereof, and we're going to tab over. And you notice all this is tracking it, okay? And then we're going to turn off the track changes. And we're going to go to the first paragraph. And we'll go to the end of the first paragraph. And then we're going to put in some hidden text. Okay, so I'm going to first of all type in the text. Okay. Wow, I got a lot of mistakes there. Okay, now this sentence is going to be hidden text. So to make it hidden, we're going to select it, and we're going back to the Home tab in the font group, and we're going to go to the dialog box of that. And you'll notice in the effects area, there's an option for hidden. So I'm going to click on that, click OK. That hides the text. I must have included that hard return too, because that pulled that up to the previous line. Okay, so at this point we're going to save. Now we're going to inspect the document. Okay, and to inspect, we're going to go back to the File tab, again in this Info category, and then we're going to look at the Check for Issues button. And in the Check for Issues button, you'll see Inspect Document, and we'll eventually get to these two at the bottom. Inspect Document. In this dialog box, notice all the things it's inspecting: comments, document properties, custom XML, headers and footers, invisible content, hidden text. All right, the first inspection that we're going to do, we don't really need it checking for the XML data. So we're going to remove that, and it'll inspect all these other ones that have check marks on them. So we want it to inspect it. Now it'll give us a result of the inspection dialog box, and you can see here there are some comments, revisions, annotations within it. There's also document properties, there's headers and footers, and there's hidden text. So all these are found in our document. Now at this point we've got a couple of things that we can do. We can reinspect. If we know these items are here, we can reinspect them. We can also at this point remove some of them, like this hidden text. They're going to suggest that we remove all hidden text, so we can remove all that. Notice it puts a check mark in it to tell you that it's been corrected. And then we're going to still have it go ahead and look at these again. We're going to have it reinspect. Notice now it takes us back to the dialog box where we can determine whether or not we want it to look for this. And then in our next step within Project 4C, they do want us to remove these check marks that check for headers, footers, and watermarks. So I'm going to deselect that so that it doesn't look for those particular options. And then we'll inspect again. Now we're down to comments and document properties, and you can tell all the different items that are there. And we're going to go through and remove all of these for comments and revision. We'll remove all the comments, and we're also going to remove all the, well, let's reinspect. And when we search for it this time, we want to remove comments and revisions, and then we'll inspect again. We're left with document properties and personal information, and we're going to leave that as is. Okay, we'll click OK, go back to the Home tab, Notice that hidden text, if we display that, it's going to be gone. That hidden text was removed, and it's actually prepared now to be sent to other users. So it's a great tool. Inspecting a document is a great tool to kind of flag certain areas in your document that you may or may not want to share with other individuals. And by the way, as we were going through and inspecting those, when you find that comments are within the document and you want to go through and double check just to see if we could leave those comments in there, then you would cancel out of that document inspector dialog box, and you could go through and search for your comments using in your review tab. So you could go to your comments and plug away each one, just confirming that you do want to delete those, or it's possible that you may want to leave them in. Also, at the end of Project 4C, they want you to insert a signature line at the top. We're not going to do that since you already know how to do that, but they do suggest that as practice.